How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and today we're going to take a look at the chart for SPY, QQQ, and as well as for IWM. We finally have big tech earnings that is out of the way. The market has been on a strong uptrend, so I'm going to give you guys my analysis for this coming week. So let's see how the SPY did on the Friday. So it ended up closing at 411.99. It couldn't even give us that 412, and it was up 1.5%. And then when we take a look at the volume, we had 87 million, and over 10 trading days, it was at 70 million. So seeing that increase in volume is definitely a great sign. So the first thing that I want to point out, many people are saying, well, you know what, we're going back into a bull market. Hey, we're in the bull market already. In my personal opinion, we are not in a bull market. We are still in the bear market. You can see that we are trading below our 200-day moving average at 433.53. So I want to make sure you guys keep that in mind. As far as from what I'm seeing from the technicals, you can see that the 20-day moving average is looking that it wants to cross over the 50-day moving average. What does this tell us? This is bullish. So if we end up having that cross, then I'm looking for SPY to make a further move up. If you remember what I said in my previous video, we do have a lot of resistance within this area. If you remember this consolidation, this was during the time where we had the Fed meeting and we came out with those bad CPI numbers back in June. But if we're able to actually break above these levels, which is around 417.5, things can get very interesting, because breaking above them, we could see SPY trading at 425. And if it could break through 425 and make a move to 430, then you could see, you know what, SPY looks like it wants to go back into a bull market. So pay attention to those levels, and those are the ones to watch. 417.5 or higher, and as well as 425. If we end up having a pullback now, we were able to close above the 100-day moving average. So if we pull back, I'd want to see support kicking in around 408 to 409. It would give us a higher low since we did test the low of 406.77. If we decide to pull back even further than that, then I'd want to see support here right around 402. If we break 402, that's where I can see us going back below 400 and making a test around 396. So please add that to your notes. But for the most part, it is looking bullish, and if we could have a continuation of more volume, I want to see that move going to 417.5. If you take a look at the stochastics down below, yes, it's clear to see that we are in the overbought area, but as far as for this overall momentum, I can see it continuing, especially if we can get to those levels I talked about. And before we move on to QQQ, let's take a look at the Fibonacci levels real quick. So again, we're going off the swing high and as well as the swing low. So what I want to bring to your attention real quick, we have the golden pocket here between 61 and as well as 65. So what the golden pocket tends to show us, this could be an area where we'll see more long positions, or we could see short positions that are being taken. And you could see right at that golden pocket right at the start, it is around that 416 area, and we could see the top being just under 419. So taking that into consideration, watch this level, especially if you're looking for those breaks to the upside, like I was saying. If we don't have those breaks, then we know that the market is going to show some weakness, and then we could see some downside pressure. Now let's move on to QQQ. So taking a look at QQQ on the Friday, it closed at $315.46, being up 1.82%. And as far as for the volume, we had 57.501 million, and the average volume over 10 trading days was at 56.722 million. So we had above average volume, but right away when we take a look at our chart, very similar to the SPY pretty much, you see that on our stochastics, we are in an overbought territory. But the good thing is, which we haven't seen on the SPY as of yet, we have the 20-day that crossed over the 50-day moving average, and this is a very bullish sign. We still continue to be in a bear market since we are trading below our 200-day moving average. And knowing that QQQ was able to close at 315.46 and the 100-day moving average is at 313.95, where do we want to see support hold? I want to see a higher low, and if we could have a higher low around 310, that would be the best case scenario. Have another retest to 316.39 and break above that level. Where would the next area of resistance be? It would be right here at 330. So watching that 330 level will be very important. But if we're able to actually get above the high that we saw on the Friday, then I'd want to see that being used as support sometime this week. If we could have support holding above 315 or even at 316, then the likelihood of going to 330 increases dramatically. And if we can make a move going to the 200-day moving average at 345, in my personal opinion, I'm not seeing it. That's where I can start seeing a lot of turbulence and having a turnaround to the downside. So add that to your notes. As far as for the bearish case scenario, and if we decide not to have a higher low, then I'd want to see support holding up right here around 309 where we saw support on the Friday. If this level was going to break, then I'm looking for support to hold up here, which would be right around 302. And if we broke through 302, I can see us actually falling back further below 300 and coming back to see if we could find support here right at the 20-day moving average at 295. Another technical pattern that I see playing out that I want to bring to your attention as well. Let me get on my drawing tool here. We could see that we have a cup that has been formed, right? So if we end up having some consolidation, this would be our handle, right? We'll have our handle here, and then we can make a further move to the upside. It's very similar to what we see on the SPY chart as well, but I wanted to make sure if you're a trader and you're bullish, you are seeing this. Of course, if you are bearish, I would say, you know what, get rid of having that bias approach. You want to make sure that you're being neutral. So we're going to get rid of these drawings, and what we want to do is take a look at the Fibonacci levels. So for our retracements, we want to go off the swing high, swing low. Let's see what we get here. So, all right. So we have the golden pocket. So the golden pocket is between 318 and as well as 321. So what does this tell us? If we have price action within this range, it is very crucial. We want to see, are traders going to take long positions or are they going to take short positions? If they decide to take short positions, then as far as this run up that we have experienced, we could see a pullback going to the 100-day moving average, and then you'd want to see support hold. If it doesn't, that's where we can come back to testing right here at this 50% level around 308. Like I said, 308 to 309. Please take notes. So we're going to take a look at the chart for IWM. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it closed at 187.25, being up 0.71%. As far as for the volume, it traded at 21.761 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 22.506 million shares. So we are just below the average in regards to volume. So that is something we want to pay attention to for the coming week. And as we take a look at this daily, I want you to see that, you know what, IWM is on a bullish move. It's been on quite the uptrend. We've seen that in the market as a whole. We also have the 20-day that looks like it wants to cross above that 50-day moving average, which we know is a bullish sign. We also did get a close above the 100 moving average, so if we could use that as support going into the coming week, that would be the perfect case scenario for IWM. But all it really needs to do is form a higher low above 185.04, and if it's able to do that, that's where I'd want to see the break above the high of 187.73, because the next area where I could see some resistance, it would be right here around 190. So watch that very closely. If IWM can break above 190 to 191, that's where I want to see the move going to around 195 or 194. And we also do see that the 200-day moving average is at 201.52. So what does this mean? If we have price action above this level, then IWM is officially back in a bull market. Whatever anyone may tell you, we are not in a bull market as of yet. We are still in a bear market. And then when we take a look at our stochastics down below, of course, we are in the overbought territory, so that's something to keep in mind. As far as for the bearish case scenario, if we're not able to form a higher low, then I'd want to see support for IWM coming in at 183.50. This is not too much to ask, and of course, just as how it was for the QQQ and as well as for the SPY, I pointed out that I could see a cup. So if we have the cup here, we start off right here, boom. And now we have some consolidation going within this range, at least above 185. That is a bullish sign, and we will make that move going to 190. But if we want to break that cup pattern, then we'd have to have price action going well below 180. So that's part of the reasons why it is continuing to look bullish, and this uptrend could continue, especially as we go into the coming week. Remember, now we have more small and mid-cap stocks that are going to be coming out with earnings. And if the numbers are good, I don't see any reason why that IWM can't continue to move up further. So it's definitely going to be on these mid-cap stocks to show up. Now, when we take a look at our Fibonacci levels, let me get rid of all the drawings here for you guys. So you have the golden pocket, which starts here right around 188.82, and as far as for the top, it is right around 190.31. So this is of no surprise whatsoever. This was an area where we had a strong sell-off. This was due to the CPI. If you guys remember, we noticed this on QQQ and as well as for SPY. So if we get within this range and we can break above it, like I said, that 190 level, that's where I want to see us getting to 190. 194 to 195 before we start seeing some resistance. Do keep in mind, we did have some price action back in May where we did break above the golden pocket, but we failed to get to the next 78% level, and we ended up having resistance right around 194. So with that said, that's why it's even more important to watch that 194 to 195 level if IWM can break through 190. And as far as for the support levels, like I was talking about in regards to a pullback, if we look at our 50% level, it is right here around 184. No surprises, we went over why this was important. And if it decides to pull back further to the 38% level, it is right here around 178. Most preferably, you want IWM to be staying above 180 if we decide to retrace back that far. But let's see if we can hold that 184, because if we do, that's what I want to see by the end of the week, IWM being at around 190, which I think is very likely, especially if the momentum continues and then the volume picks up and we have solid earnings coming from these mid caps. And if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know inside of the comment section, and don't forget to like and as well as subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. We'll be talking real soon.